Recorded July 9th, 2026. Good afternoon, Gary. Good afternoon, Chevelle.
Hello.
AKA Rod. How's everyone doing?
You really want to know? Do you really want to know?
Do I really want to know? Yes. Does a one-legged duck swim in a circle?
I think a one-legged person runs in a circle.
That's a thing.
Or even well, if you think about it, even just a person with one leg shorter than the other, they're going to run in a circle too.
You know what? That makes the best track runners. I always figured that that's what's the case, right?
Yeah. If you can get your leg just at the right size, the one leg, and you could be like the fastest runner around that track.
Yeah.
Just get in the first lane and just lean.
Just like NASCAR.
Ovals and not circles?
Yeah. Oh yeah, that is a thing. Circle, oval would be harder, I think. You'd have to. Yeah, I don't know how you'd accomplish that.
Yeah, that's the thing. Well, NASCAR does it.
They do, but and I have read that at the end of the race, the car is actually, because of the tires, they are angled a certain way.
Changed the setup to angle it.
Yeah, I've walked on a NASCAR track down here in Georgia. It is an angle, and I've done a NASCAR experience. The car is actually pinion in that direction with the shocks and stuff.
Yeah,
those cars, man. A NASCAR is a super sophisticated operating machine, and it pales beside a Formula One car. I mean, it's the difference between a 286 processor and what we're using today.
My
what are we using today, by the way?
Was meeting Dale Earnhardt Jr. and having no clue who he was.
Huh.
Oh, yeah, well, I think I met him. I thought he was like Chipper Jones or somebody. And they were doing something here in Georgia. Like, oh, that's Chipper Jones.
I've never met him. So you guys are cool.
I guess. I mean, man, it's been a minute. Rod, Happy New Year.
Yeah, it is. It is the new year. At Microsoft, our fiscal new year. For those that aren't familiar, June 30th was the end of last year, and July 1st was the beginning of this year, which, we'll talk about a little bit, I guess, but I think it's of interest to those maybe listening or tuning in. We've just went through a couple rounds of, well, first off, at the end of the last fiscal year, a bunch of voluntary retirement buyouts. And then we started this week with all kinds of layoffs.
Yeah.
Over half of my own team is gone. And a lot of my good friends and colleagues that I've worked with for years, but also been really good friends with, they're also gone. It was one of those almost waking up one morning and wondering what you did the night before, or where did I end up, or.
Yeah, and it's not a promoting statement or anything.
No.
If you've been around Microsoft enough, this is nothing new. This is not a
rhythm of business.
Yeah, it's a business, right?
Yep.
And I knew a couple of folks and all that, but it is a business, and that doesn't diminish the impact personally. But in the end, the quickest way to feel bad about it is to try to, convince yourself it didn't happen and all this other stuff, and say stuff is not fair. Let me tell you something, man. Life is fair.
Yeah.
Unless it happens to me first, then it's not fair. But it does diminish, and this is not unique to Microsoft. I think that if anything, Microsoft delayed a lot of this, where other big companies were doing it, and they were doing it with less compassion. I mean, UPS did it, Google did it, Meta did it, everybody else has done it, and it wasn't something that was done in a random manner. It absolutely coincides to what the future vision of the company is happening. All the companies out there. Yeah. We saw a call this years ago, and before we get into it, it's not going to be the mainstay of this. So let's talk about how the show is here. So first of all, Frank's on vacation yet again. We were graced to have our reoccurring and soon to be, permanent host, Gary. If we can trick him into it, we try to get him to read. We try to get him to sign the contract without reading it. and he keeps seeing the paper, and I'm like, he's like, there's nothing on it. It's invisible ink. You have to, when you sign it, the words come. That's right. I'll start out with you, Gary, and then we'll get back to that. And then the topic of the day is we don't have any guests this week. I just wanted to sort of maybe set the stage to talk about something somebody asked me, and it's sort of like it's been an ongoing conversation, not just in my place of employment, but across my peers out in the cybersecurity realm and partners and other businesses and players. But before we go there, Gary, how you doing? What you been up to, man?
Oh, actually, I've been working with Agent 365 a lot.
Really?
And in 24 hours, I will also be on vacation. In 48 hours, I should be down on the ocean.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
You're gonna be diving in the middle of the ocean.
I won't be diving. I'll going down to Emerald Island, North Carolina. So we have a house on the beach.
Okay.
We'll be enjoying that.
So you and Frank's on vacation. He's out on a cruise ship, which he's become very fond of lately. I mean, this got to be Frank's third or fourth cruise, maybe. He likes it. So vacation is good for the soul, I heard. Is that true?
I've really taken one in a long time.
Well, just remember, you got to pad your vacation a few days out, come home, and then have a few days off so you can recover.
Yeah, and well, you can't see him, but Crypto has to stay in the kennel or boarding for a week. Yeah. So the next week we'll be sucking up to him a lot.
Yeah.
I hate it when I had to put my kids in kennel when I went on vacation also. So they'll get over it. Built character for them. They got stronger.
He's not talking about pets either.
And doing that. So from a technology thing, you broke anything lately, Gary?
I don't know who's listening, so I'll have to follow deniability.
There was this one customer. Yeah.
Actually, I had a heck of a time with Microsoft because we're a partner, so we get some partner credits in Azure. I'm trying to get those moved to a different tenant than what my actual company account was set for was very interesting, to say the least.
It can be done. I've had to do it. It took a support team. It took a week.
Well, the worst part for us was the person who originally owned the tenant had left the company. So we couldn't contact them to get the email to go through. Yeah. So first of all, we had to switch it to mine. We're actually going up to the CEO to get permission for this. And then once I owned the tenant, then we could switch everything over.
I'm surprised they're letting you go on vacation since you're the one.
I had to tell them how I did it.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I've had the issue. It took a support call. It took for them to send proof. You got to do this. Do you own this? Sign this. I got it. And then when they sent it over, I couldn't find the darn thing because they made it a credit rather than enabling a subscription. So it was a pain in the butt. And when you bill, in my case, I didn't see it. So I'm like, where is this stupid thing? So they stuck the credit up under. They just embedded it. You have to go into cost analysis and something else.
Right.
And then it took a minute. I'm like, okay. So I had to go in and make sure some of my services were being billed against credit. I'm glad you said that because, I get a certain amount of credits a year. And if you don't spend them, you use them. It's like check as your credit balance. Thank you for that.
Yeah, because we're actually playing with some AI stuff, and I noticed that we used in 2 days our monthly credit. So
you sound like Frank with IoT Foundry. What else did Frank do that ran his American Express Black Card all the way up?
Whoops. Yeah. That's not easy to do.
Yeah. Well, I think we talked about it, but I had a similar situation, and was dealing with support since December, and it finally got fixed this week last week, because they had to have it off the books by the end of the fiscal year. So they just delayed refunding me. And I ended up having to go to American Express and just issue a complaint, and they took it off. And when I told Microsoft support about it, they're like, "Oh, okay, well, fine." So if I would have done that all along instead of working with support, they would have been fine with that in the first place.
I put everything on American Express. I don't leave home without it.
No, American Express they'll take a look at it, like, okay, that's fine. Let's just get rid of it.
And make
I created a website for this trip, and I used AI, and I told AI to push it to Azure, not specifying anything. So it used the most expensive SQL, the most expensive app. That ran up a big bill.
It happens. It happens. Rod, what did you break this week?
What I break? What did I break this week? Not really breaking things, just fixing things or finding broken things, I guess. I've been doing a lot of development lately. In fact, Gary, if you would have used my new Chervil web browser, it would have created that website for you using the most efficient. And in fact, most of the things I've been working with these days is not Azure because of the support issues I've had since December. Vercel is like one of the best for websites and things like that, and it's really easy to push. So I've been using Vercel quite a bit. But no, like I said, I've just been doing a lot more development lately, especially around AI, trying to kind of take AI and agentic AI to the next level. I think industry-wide, where I think a lot of people are getting stuck on AI as a response mechanism, as a chat bot versus what it actually can do. So that's where I'm focused. All of my work stream is on getting AI to do things for me in more of a trusted, vetted manner, so I can trust it instead of just using it as a silly chat bot.
Yeah, I same thing. I'm making sure that you give it the best possible. When I say that AI, opportunity to succeed, and if you spend more time fact checking the response, then something else is. Yeah.
Which brings up an interesting thing, and it's something I've had a discussion recently, and I'll just interject this, then we can get into kind of the main topic. Everybody's talking about securing AI or AI for security, particularly the security for AI, and everybody's kind of focused on the things everybody knows about or the things everybody talks about. Prompt injection, using corporate data in chatbots and things like that. But what people don't talk about is the truthfulness of AI and the hallucinations and being able to vet that. That's actually the biggest security risk that you find with AI, and at least I am, is that you can't trust the responses 85% of the time, because the data sources that most of these LLMs are sourced on top of, they have such rigid guardrails around certain topics that you're never going to get a complete answer or the correct answer. You're just going to get half answers, and you're going to go with that and think that's the truth or that's the response that you're supposed to carry along with, and you're going to make some very silly missteps. And there's only a few service providers that don't do that don't put those strict guardrails on.
Yeah, I agree. And you said something. I don't know if you actually said this, but I'll put it in my my byline here. Well, it sounded like you said this. I just put it in my thing.
AI will kill your lawn. Yeah, it will.
It will, man. Because I told me to do something out there. Now my lawn is suffering. Big shout out to my manager trolling me on the podcast today, but that's okay. I had a pretty good call today with a customer. I did some Agent 365, which is my thing. I am an AI architect engineer that does cybersecurity, and I think that's the thing. That's the rest of what our show is about today. No guest today.
Yeah,
and I thought we should address it because I've had some really good conversations with partners. Rod, you and I talk. Gary, you and I don't talk enough, but we're both so busy. We'll fix that. Now you're on the show, and so I love going out doing data analysis. Maybe I'm not even a cybersecurity guy. I find myself in my later age becoming an economist. There's the economics of everything, right? Economics is actually data sets, data mapping, data points, really, and extraction of emotion, unless you want to do a data set mapping emotion to probability, but causation is not correlation, right? Where it may be. But I had several people say, hey, the realm of cybersecurity is advancing at a rate that it's all like track and field, right? You put two things out there and you tell one person that you're running a half marathon, you tell the other person you're running a 5K, they're going to perform different. You put them at the same start line, and Rod knows this. Rod's a big runner, right? If you line me and you up on the track, Rod, and I whisper in your ear, this is the distance, and I whisper in my ear, this is the distance, the way you perform and the way you go out and the way you approach training, the way you do this, it's the same thing.
Yep. So
someone asked, is cybersecurity still a thing in the world of AI? That is the topic of the show.
Or is cybersecurity still a thing? Just leave it at that.
Is cybersecurity still a thing? That's a good question. First of all, we have to find Freeport. Who bombed us? That must be Rod doing something. Rod, is that your family?
No, that's not me. I don't know what's going on. Should we bring him on? Who could
Yeah, let's see what it is.
So I just jumped in.
Somebody just jumped into the thing. Who's that?
Now we're in the show. Here we go.
We're in a restaurant.
It's,
Say hi to everyone.
is it Frank? It's
Say
Frank.
Hey, Frank! Woo, woo!
Say hi, Connor.
Hello, my favorite
Myself,
dancer.
so there you go. All right. Have a good show, guys. See ya.
All right. They were looking at him like, what did you just do?
What do you do? Freight show bomb. I was like, wait a minute, Frank's on a cruise ship.
I didn't know what that was at first. I thought it was like an OnlyFans. I was afraid.
Remember, we got show bombed on Discord a couple things early in the years in the show. People would dive into our thing like, how did they get in? So let's go back to that. All right.
Yeah.
I'll say this because the people want to know. Before we ask if cybersecurity is a real thing, let's define cybersecurity.
That's it. What is, and what is it today? Not what we think it has been or what we think our job is today, but what is cybersecurity?
I mean, it's definitely changed in even just the last decade from what it used to be.
Yeah.
Well,
In my mind, from what cybersecurity is or was, or maybe what it should be today, there's certain aspects or certain workloads in cybersecurity that just literally should not exist today. Triage should not be a role or a job, right? As long as we've always talked about from like a Sentinel perspective, as long as you have proper signals and have all the signals and all the data, that was at least our line for a long time. If you have all the data from everywhere, then you're going to have enough signal and you're going to be able to determine whether that thing is an actual thing or a risk in your environment. However, those individuals, mostly junior analysts, will still spend all day looking through those signals to determine if that thing was a thing. When we can use AI today, just literally to go through that triage component and expose those things that those junior analysts can spend 30 minutes on instead of all day long. Mm-hmm. So in my mind, there's things like that. Triage should not actually be a thing anymore.
But you were just saying that AI is wrong 80% of the time. How are you going to know if it's right if you don't do a triage?
As long as you have those proper signals. If you're feeding it, AI is nothing without that data or those sources. If you have the proper vetted sources, so my fear is when you're using AI just general data somewhere, you're going to get those hallucinations and wrong data. But if you have your data and your signals and you've trained that AI on those signals, then it's more trustworthy.
Well, let me say, I agree with you 100%. Just being a devil advocate here.
Oh, no, yeah.
But the LLMs, what are they trained on? And are they being trained correctly?
They're trained on me.
Rod and I really run all the LLMs in the world.
You see all those screens behind Edward there. Those are all GPUs.
This is really, really fast to answer all the questions.
That's it. So before we dive off into AI's fidelity, both in actuality and accuracy and commitment and trustworthiness. Fidelity means so many things. Let's go back to cybersecurity.
Yeah.
So I've been doing this a lot of years, and I remember working, and the word I can't. Maybe someone will give us a history. I don't remember when the word was actually coined, cybersecurity. I remember being a firewall guy. You were the security guy. You were the firewall guy. Your title was what you were good at. You were the antivirus guy. You were the whatever. And then cybersecurity, probably created by Gartner, ITP, FARC, whatever it may be. Just like SIM was created not by a SIM provider, it was created by an analyst group that said, "Oh my God, we had IEM, incident and event management, and then incidents were outages, switch down, router down, blah 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 down." I used to be an HP OpenView guy, so we had IEM, right? And then someone said, "Oh my God, you can take firewall logs, right?" Because I remember running the firewall feature set on iOS on Cisco Catalyst because you didn't want a firewall before you end up getting a PIX firewall and then ASA and all that. And some smart person said, "Oh man, if you put an S in front of it and grab some stuff that looks like security, now you have a SIM." And then I don't think the SIM was a thing. You had ArcSight and all these other things, but there were some attributes of IDS and IPS that looked like SIM, like Snort and some of these other things. But then cybersecurity sort of came in, and most often titles are driven by industry certification and monikers and certification badges and or roles. And so that term took off like so many other terms. But when you look at it and people go, I asked somebody this and someone said, well, cyber was a lazy way of them being able to encapsulate information technology security. Because you can't say, I remember time I used to say IT security. I'm an IT security guy.
Right.
I remember they call, that's an IT security guy. And now it's cyber because you had to differentiate between physical security, because I did some contracting work with a company, Honeywell, and they had a security guy, right? And it was key fob, this, that, cameras, all these things, right? And they tested you just on CISSP back in the day, right? So cybersecurity was a term that was used to differentiate between physical security and other security mechanisms that were directly related to information technology and technology that wasn't in line to traditional security. So be as it may, the cybersecurity as we know it still exists in a manner that it in my humble opinion, it became productized. You had to say cyber in these things. So does it exist? Let's say, does it still exist in the way it has been advertised over the last 7 years? Then I'll move on to the different thing. I mean, this show I specifically said was a show of highly opinionated facts.
Using that thought process, you should put cyber in front of everything, right? Cyber shopping,
yeah,
cyber whatever. So maybe it's just wholesale security.
Well, if someone wants to look it up on their model of choice and throw it in the chat, you can.
Oh, I did. Okay. Yeah, cybersecurity came from 1989. Popular articles. I asked Chervil, by the way, because I built Chervil and it's vetted. So it says, William Gibson coined it. 1984 novel Neuromancer. He popularized the related term cyberspace, and then the compound word cybersecurity emerged later as the field developed.
And I'm not sure if the word cyber was used in war games or not. Let me check that too.
Yeah, I've checked that.
War game. All right, so let's not beat a dead horse, right? Unless you're going to eat the horse and you want it tenderized. So if we're looking at security, the way we're going, cybersecurity is their way to advance, anticipate, protect, and do these things. Take your marketing, take your company of choice to be able to say, provide safe operations for line of business using information technology and prevailing whatever else to be able to protect the line of business. It was generally used in defense of known adversarials and things that could be really identified short of a 0 day. In the world of cybersecurity, everything's 0 day now, right?
Mhm.
And if you talk to enough mathematicians out there, and some of those who have brains on LSD, it is a -0, meaning you are trying to find out things that already exist, which is the nature of the scientific method and discovery, right? So I really want to make sure we focus on that, the broad spectrum of what cybersecurity is, and definitely stay away from marketing. And I would like, is cybersecurity still effective in the world of artificial intelligence as we see it now? Because it is outpacing it. Artificial intelligence innovation and adoption is definitely outpacing the innovation of cyber and the willingness to adopt technology to to keep pace with it. Because I think a lot of practitioners, especially those who are not hands on the keyboard, think that it's so easy just to introduce a cyber implement to protect their business. And it could be as disruptive as any day. So
Right.
it's the way that we do cyber. And like I said, it's just opinion for us. It's the way that we do cyber currently sufficient enough to be able to protect against the rapid acceleration of artificial intelligence, sanctioned adoption, and unsanctioned. Because I had that call today, and this whole thing about sprawl, this hacktivist, this is like the cloud. This is where you got a credit card, you go, you download a model, you spin up a cloud-based model, you do this on your machine. Do we think that cybersecurity in itself needs to be reinvented in the realm of AI and the rapid expansion and adoption of AI? And I'll go with you first, Gary. I mean, you work at a place that is proprietary cybersecurity services,
Right.
mission and advisory. And by no means do your opinions represent the position of your company. This is just a show of my opinionated facts. And so am I. I'm a proud employee of Microsoft, so my opinions don't reflect the opinions of the company.
I don't know about having to reinvent it, but it definitely needs to change a lot. Even just your typical day-to-day tasks are going to be different because, like you were saying, AI does so much already. And like we were talking about before, you're not going to spend a half hour looking at an incident to see if it's valid or not. AI is going to take a look at it for you and help you decide, if not decide on its own, and possibly even take actions to resolve it. Now, the thing that I'm thinking about is threat hunting. Is AI going to be able to do threat hunting? I mean, I would say at least half of threat hunting is almost a feeling more than looking at data saying, oh, this is indicative of something else. Like you get a feeling that something's going on and then you're going to go look into it.
Mm-hmm.
Is AI going to get to that level where it can randomly come up with a scenario and then do an investigation on it?
It sounds like it does, but not in the realm that you, Rod, and I operate in, which is threat intelligence, threat response, threat detection, and stuff. And if you prioritize at EDR, signal, whatever it may be, right? And I agree with you on that, because sometimes you get a gut feeling, right? Mm-hmm. It walks like a duck, it quacks like a duck, it swims like a duck, it ducks like a duck. Why is this duck going out of the way to prove it's a duck? I convince you it's a duck, right? And what AI, and I owe about $100. I think I said it on a show last year. Every time I use the word AI and they say artificial intelligence all the way out, I had to put a quarter in the thing. I'm probably up to $2 million, right? Because I've gotten lazy in it. I think we said it when we had Women in Cyber Month a couple of years ago. We were talking about security co-pilots. You can't say AI, you have to say artificial intelligence. But I'll pay the cost of doing the work. That money can buy me more tokens. You're starting to see a proliferation of more companies. And I talked about this to some well-known partners, some people I respect in the industry, some senior level people. And it says the way you want to determine how the landscape is the skill sets that you seek out in your hiring thing, right? Either skills that you can buy, because when you hire someone, you're buying them. You're buying their skill set. Don't feel like you're buying someone's skill set. There's no different from buying a basketball player, a soccer player, or somebody who can do these things. You are commissioning them. You're buying them to be able to do this particular thing, right? It is affecting a way that security stakeholders are buying talent to be able to come in, either talent that you have, or they believe that you can develop, or you can help them to develop the skill set to be able to do it. It is alarming how when I say we, the industry is trying to address this while saying, in one hand, which side of your net, cybersecurity is going to be the answer for this. And we had a complete year that all we talked about was security copilot, right? We've had big wigs on, Microsoft, other parties, partners, and everything else. And we sort of predicted that they were going to go away from the way that Copilot was operated to an agentic engine model, right? And then it powers all these engines. I don't know the answer. This is not an answer to come in and prove. This was not a show to come in and prove how smart we are and big brain. It's literally a legitimate show to say, what is it?
Well, and just have that discussion, because I think we're not the only ones thinking about this, to be honest. You and I have both talked to other people about this, but I think a lot of customers are also kind of starting to reconsider what's our approach to cybersecurity now that AI is a thing, and how do we, is there anything it can help us with, but is there areas where we need to put bigger focus?
Yeah, and I think that the word AI is still going to persist, because it's an easy way to try to define a huge swath of desired technologies and everything else to be able to go do certain things. You can't go back to information technology, and you can't say the word AI security, right? Because I thought that would have been a thing. I thought it should be two separate nomenclatures. Yeah. Cybersecurity means that pre AI, and AI security is post AI, right? You look at the way technology is adopted. When you look at them, when you look at economics, you always hear these two terms, macro and micro. And I was telling someone on my nonprofit, the way that we've been successful, we look at the micro, medium economics, not macroeconomics, not microeconomics, mid-economics. Because what happened in the middle is definitely going to represent the median. And so you have to figure out what are those little nuances that either cause you to succeed and go macro, or cause you to fail and go micro. It's very funny. It seems like right now, if I had to define what the most optimal security mechanism in this world of AI would be, what we talk about in marketing and buzzwords, but it's very true. Governance and process. Mm-hmm. If you try to solve it with a product, you're not going to be able to do it. Governance and process. And I gave this presentation that day, and I said, you want a governance and a detection mechanism? Look at the cost. Pull up your billing. You can find rogue agents by looking at your billing. If you can look at it because if tokenization is the cost mechanism, and being able to manage outliers in it, agents and agent processes and everything the billing is probably going to be one of the biggest threat detection mechanisms that you're ever going to have. Because if you see your billing go out of whack, remember, we're all signal guys. First thing you do is look at ingestion spikes or decline and go, what is going on? Did a data source go offline? Did a data source come online? Right? To be able to do these things. You're going to look at your cost analysis, right? And you'll be able to tell both unsanctioned and sanctioned, and rogue unsanctioned and rogue sanctioned. So you can have a sanctioned agent that's rogue, meaning I'm allowing you to run artificial intelligence in my environment, but I didn't give you permission. So the environment is saying you can, but I didn't give you permission to do it. You're going to have sanctioned and be able to do it. So
it all costs. It all costs, though.
It all costs. Right. And so when you start putting cost analysis in your detection mechanism, it's going to save your butt sometimes.
It would be nice if there was like a rogue agent policy. We don't charge for rogue agents. Or, I don't know, something. There's got to be something.
I know what you're talking about. I started getting into it today, and I couldn't formulate my brain into saying what I thought it could be. but
Yeah.
to detect budget outliers. Now, in the Microsoft product, inside of if you go to Agent 365, go over to Agent, go to cost management, and look down, you can meter the cost of tokenization use on roles, group, individual users, and email. I had to figure this out for a customer. You can do it.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, this is slick, right? You can just do it in here. And I showed it, and the customer, like, I didn't know you could do that, because their biggest thing was they had the procurement person on the call. How do I control costs? And luckily, I had already written a document, and I pulled down the cost estimate. And I said, here you go. I knew this was going to come up. And so when you take the people who are not directly IT, who can come in and say, hey, man, I just got a bill. What are you guys doing on the AI side? And we're not running that many agents. It's got a bill for $50,000. Something's running. Then you go look, and you got, oh, this agent's running an infinite loop. It should have decommissioned itself automatically, and it did. Now you got this bill, but it's a detection mechanism. Monitor your spending, because it was inherent. They're not free. If it's free, in the famous words of somebody, what course I took, malware can hide, but it must run. I think that's right. It can hide, but it must run. Is malware if it doesn't run? Got to run, right? It has to run, otherwise it's just sitting there. It's dormant.
Yeah.
That's the same thing with these agents.
So you just need an agent to report on the other agents.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
Just a watcher.
yeah, I mean, that could happen. I mean, that's probably what you need. But I think the bigger thing there is just putting a cap. Put those price caps on in Azure or whatever. So
yeah. And the thing is, I talked about it today in my presentation. The agent masqueraded and the agent monitored other agents, right? So
yeah.
What I want to tell to all our listeners is that there is no right answer. Nobody has the answer, because, as frontier as you want to be, you're still chasing, right? And so what you have to do is get more people in the room than those who are just supposedly in charge of this technology. Because when you get a diverse mindset about what this thing is supposed to do, my wife always comes up with some of the weirdest things. She said, why don't you guys do this? I'm like, I didn't think of it. She said, you and Rod, the rest of y'all, so smart. You can't. I'm like, I steal so many ideas from her. I'm like, you're right. And so she looks at it from a consumer standpoint, right? And when you listen to a consumer, you or someone who's being inconvenienced by the technology, they would give you insights, because now shadow IT doesn't exist, right? That's an old nomenclature. It's shadow AI, and we have to assume that AI is encompassing of the technology behind it, because shadow IT, as I said 4 or 5 times in the shows we've had over the 7 years we had. Shout out to Security Insights Podcast 8, episode 295. We'll be at 300 soon. Shadow IT and shadow AI is a result of low cost to do it. A credit card is the reason you have so much cloud sprawl. You go spin up a tenant, put a credit card. Shadow IT is because so many departments all of a sudden got budget, and they didn't want to go through the procurement process. So if I need a SQL server, I need a license, I needed this, I need a server, I'm not going through procurement progress and getting a PO.
Or somebody told them no.
Or someone told them no.
Yeah.
It is the direct reflection of someone telling you no, and you having a credit card and said, I'm not going to wait to you. I'm going to go to Best Buy and go get me a server, put up under my desk. I got to get this done.
Easier to get forgiveness than permission.
That sounds like an old Navy term. It's easier to ask for forgiveness than it is for.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and
It's
you
not
want
just Navy, by the way.
Yeah, and so we're running into this, and we can lament about this as much as we want, but this is the new reality, right? I think as I evolve my career and I look at what I'm going to do the next 3, 5, 7 years, right? Maybe 10. I don't know. I said this, Ron. You and I were talking today, Ron. I talked to someone else. You're going to see a less determination and dependence on being a subject matter expert than you're going to have to be a domain expert. You're going to have to really emulate what your customers are doing across the domain. I did a call today, and something told me I had the whole script ready. I did this, and then all of a sudden, I just happened to check my email, and I saw something. I had no the meeting. The initial call was 7 people, no, 4 people, and there were 15 to 17 people on the call, and they said we have our security people here, we have a developer team here, we have our AI. I'm like, so I had to be able to convey all of this information. So I went to the common denominator of what was the main topic and quickly touch upon what was the importance of each one of them. And as I thought I was floundering, I don't know if this guy knew me. He threw me a softball. He said, "Well, Edward, how is this manifested inside the tables that I can watch in Sentinel?" I was like, "Oh Lord," he gave me a question. Please, thank you. And I answered the question, and he's like, and then I got his name right because everybody gets his name right.
That's impossible.
I know, right? So how did I get his name right? But we're looking at it, man, and this is an exciting time for whatever company you work for. And I'm excited to hear work at Microsoft about this, right? Because you have the ability that you can actually jump out front and do the wrong thing, but it's still the right thing because it takes courage to lead. It takes a lot of courage to lead.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
And when you go out there, courage takes the ability to fail or have a semblance of failure. You know, Rod, you know my thing about failure. I don't believe you can ever fail unless you refuse to try or you're not given another chance.
Unless getting out in front was actually a cliff.
Well, and you still don't fail. You just warn everybody else, stop running.
Learn to fly real quick.
Yeah, like Edward the Lemming. I've been a lemming in many things in many organizations. I will go first, and let's see what happens. So I look at the subject matter expertise thing as something that won't dissipate as the market matures, and you need someone to be able to do a very specific thing. But I'm starting to see whenever I want to look at whether technology is going to advance, and I think I told Rod, go look at the job postings, go look at the people that they're hiring. They're hiring for more people that have potential. Can you tell us what we don't know, and can you be brave enough? But again, can the senior leadership team be brave enough to see and say, we don't know, but we can't stand still, and we got to be able to go do it. And we coined the phrase frontier company and all this other things. But you got to be a thought leader and a risk taker and someone to be able to do it. It is not so much that the CEOs of companies are being able to do this because their risk factors are extremely different from what we have. They're betting on the future of a company to be able to be the thought leaders of a certain thing. But later down the anthill to the worker ants and the worker bees, it is, will I recommend or will I be responsible for implementing something that someone else made a decision for me and I got to make it work, right? So I'll go back to the original thing. The cybersecurity in the way that it exists now, appropriate term for the way that we're going to have to secure this thing that is artificial intelligence. In my opinion, we're chasing. And the only thing I'm not sure is how much road do we get? I said this on a show years ago. And I said all the companies come together when there's a common extinction moment. We almost had it in the cloud a few times. Spectre, Meltdown, and a couple other things because it was indiscriminate. You run cloud, you run this, I do not care. Will we have a catastrophic AI security? I don't know the word to use.
Well, and it boils down to the impact and the effect. And I think, well, I'll be honest, I do think we will have that.
I would agree.
And it'll be more impactful than just people doing their jobs or going to work. It will be power outages. It will be other cataclysmic types of operations that general people rely on. And that's, I think, the biggest thing.
I think the thing that scares me the most, and we said this, that it used to be an honor among hackers. You didn't go out to educational institutions and you didn't go out to healthcare. All bets are off. Yeah. All bets are off, right? And will there be one? Yes. And it's like death. If death was the lottery and it takes 6 balls to kick the bucket, how many times have we rolled 5? How many times did 5 of our numbers come up and you not know it? 5 of my numbers came up yesterday. This guy ran the red light.
Mm.
And I just happened to look. There is no doubt, had I turned, I would be dead.
Yeah.
This guy did not.
I mean, that brings up a very interesting point because Tesla has AI to drive the cars. What happens if somebody can break into that?
I think that is a very valid thing because it's so integrated into everything that we're doing now. I talked to a peer that is a person at a major car factory, and they were like, they had a fear mongering episode. They said just come out with the most craziest things that you could talk about that could happen. And I said, I'm going to jump into your production and I'm going to change the welding time on your automation from 5 seconds to 3 seconds on a critical weld on an engine part. I may not have caused physical life-threatening damages, but once it's found out, you're going to have a major recall, and it's going to affect your line of business. So AI may not be the catastrophic thing that brings physical harm to everyone, not even economic harm at the small factor, but for companies, think about it. If I have a highly regulated industry and I can prove that I broke your regulation things, you're done. We've already seen it with this life cycle hacks that started with SolarWinds or something. Well, I can't even think of the term right now, but software lifecycle development stuff. And when I can change to say that now none of the code can be trusted, it can't be trusted. And so all these things that are coming out here by scanning repositories and doing all these things, I had a call about that today. Surprisingly enough, I knew the answer doing the research. But it is opened up a huge amount of opportunity for those who will be brave enough to think big enough, but not fear mongering at the same time. Because I see people who call themselves subject matter experts pulling back and say, well, nobody can guarantee and nobody knows, but yet you want to get up on the stage and put no personal risk to the statements that you say. Say it. Say it. The person that gets the most respect from me is someone looks at me and says, I don't know. I'm like, that's a good answer. That's a very good answer.
I will find out.
I will find out. Give me a minute. Let me find out.
Well, at that point, if they say I'll find out, at least they care.
Right.
That's probably all you need.
And you're going to have to see an evolution of your thought leadership. Either you're going to create a chief AI officer, and I think that we talked about this last year, and there are officers, there are positions.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I'd want that role. That is the role targeted for disaster. I don't know if I'd want to be the person
that is a scapegoat role.
Yeah,
I'd take the role if I knew who I reported to. Remember we talked about the CISO role was a scapegoat role, right? Because the CISO never had a seat at the board.
Yeah.
It reported up. If you were lucky, you reported to the CTO. Your luck started to go away when you reported to the CIO, and you were dead in the water if you reported to the CFO. You were dead in the water.
Did I lose Edward only?
No, I think Gary, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Oh yeah.
I still hear everything just fine.
Yeah.
Gary's dog went and bit the cable. Crypto.
Well, it's crypto. I think he might have actually
Dog.
Yeah, gotten some.
So you and I, Rod, we watch a lot of the startup channels, a lot of the startup activity. We're seeing some very interesting companies come up. And it seems to me that they are solving problems that either they have hypothesized is going to occur and it's not there yet. And I'm okay with that, right? I'm a big science fiction guy. But when you tell me that we can detect this and prevent this and so, if that was the case, then why isn't everyone else doing the same thing? Because it's going to be a uniform problem. And so I find differentiating marketing from companies to say, are you selling me a very certain solution that only affects my particular vertical, or is this something that's going to be ubiquitous across all companies, regardless of what industry you're in?
Yeah.
that's the thing, and that's the part that you got to look for good thought leadership about what we're going, what we're doing. You and I talked about this a little bit. That is the risk worth it to be a security company in today's landscape?
You know, to be honest, I don't think it's actually as much of a crown jewel as it once was, to be honest. I think whoever wins the day is going to have the biggest piece of the AI pie, whether security is part of that or not. Because I think, with zero trust and things like that, I think we have a good handle on what security actually is. We have lots of tools to accomplish those things. We're just looking at the latest and greatest potential threat, right?
Mm-hmm.
So maybe as cybersecurity or security as an industry is kind of one of those, let's say, non-things, but just not as important as everything else going on.
And that doesn't mean it's good term there. It doesn't mean it's not as important. I mean, not important. It's just not as important because the adoption of it is a. When I hear words that drive me crazy, like AI is an arms race. Well, everything's an arms race.
Yeah.
And
really, security was more about evangelizing security, getting people on board.
Okay.
These are the things that are suspect. These are the things you need to look after. Here's the tools you can use to do those things. And it was more about evangelizing and getting that across, because I think for the longest time, a lot of folks just kind of scratched their heads. Even companies, when you start talking about cybersecurity insurance and things, they just kind of squinted their eyes. But
yeah.
Right. So it was more about that evangelization, getting people on board with security. And now I think we've got enough people on board where people are just going to do that security thing.
I did have a conversation with a CTO this week. We started talking about AI, and I started to mention SharePoint and making sure that's secure. And his whole response to me is, why are we talking about SharePoint? I thought this was supposed to be an AI meeting. Like, okay, where's the AI getting its information from?
Yeah.
It is a very large problem that people will defer back to a narrow conversation where they want to feel comfortable in their subject matter expertise, and you got to be a domain expert now. If you're going to survive in this, you got to be able to talk like the so-called thought leaders. The roles and titles are just for hierarchy and reporting. Yeah. You better have empowerment all the way down your technology and talent stack. One thing I don't like is when someone sits here and gauges your expertise and your importance and your ability to do impact based on the name of your role. Mm-hmm. I have a friend that is a principal global architect, and he is more significant than most CISOs and CIOs over the world by virtue of where he works and what he's in charge of. But we quickly go back to, this person's this and he's this and that. Well, put their knowledge to the test and put it to the test. Why are you now relevant? Right? The hardest job right now, if you're a CEO of a major company, that is both the hardest and easiest job in the world. Let me tell you why. My opinion. Nobody listen to the short, good-looking black guy, but I'm going to give it to you. You're expected to fail. Nobody will say it, but you are, right? And so when you know that you're playing with house money, play. It's hard to do that if you are a leader with conscience, because you realize that your decision-making can impact those more profoundly than it will impact you. But if you can lead in bravery to see and say, I would do it in good conscience to see and say, I'm going to do what's best for whatever I work for, but also best for the industry that we're in. I'm sure that these folks have these conversations. They don't sleep at night, and people are like, well, that's why they get paid the big bucks. That's bullshit. I promise you right now, nobody sits on their deathbed and said, man, I wish I had more money. They say, I wish I had more time.
Yeah.
Right? And that's what you're seeing on these folks right now. Your boy Elon, say what you want to say about him. I get it. But his biggest fear, and I didn't talk to the dude. If he want to have a conversation at dinner, as long as he's buying, I'll sit down with him. Shout out Elon, fan of the show. Come on.
Send your robo taxi.
He can send me a taxi. I ain't buying it. I'll ride it. But I can tell you, he probably sits in the room and goes, "Oh my God, all the stuff that I see here and I put on my S1 that I want to do, I won't be here to see it.
No.
You're not going to be here to see it." So do you lead by saying, "I'm going to leave the world a better place"? And these are the conversations when the whole thing about you is, I got to sell, I got shareholders, I got to do this, I got to do this. And then you microism and like, take care of my family, I got to pay my mortgage, I got to do this. People will quickly go from that. And then that's where your innovators come from, when people that break the mold. I love listening to CEOs and leaders and things that go. I'll give you one that I'm a big fan of, Miss Faulkner, the founder and CEO of Epic Systems. I don't know the woman, but I would love to meet her. I've been a fan of Epic Electronic Systems for decades, right? Certain leaders lead in a certain way. And the problem with these leaders in the new age is you keep letting people build your pedestal and put you on it. Build your own pedestal and build your own legacy. If you do it correctly, I would trust my foundation rather than the foundation that other people put me on. They put you on it to tear you down. This is a fraught time in the world of security as it relates to technology, because anybody with a high-speed internet and obscurity is a superpower. We've talked about this on the show. I've been on other people's show. Raw, I know I've seen you present about it. The term superpower used to be related to three things, and I'm ex-military: your military might, your financial might, and your allies. That's what made you a superpower. Now you're looking at your technology might, and you got all these small state actors, and they are superpowers. You got a high-speed internet connection, you got motivation, and you got money. I can cripple your company. I can cripple your country. And everybody's doing it. What frustrates me is that I'm seeing so much marketing from all these places. Which model is going to win? And this, they're all the same, man. You know my preference. I run them all, but I do have my preference I like to use. And so I'm asking these questions. I wanted to do the show because it seems like for some reason our friends that we have, remember how everybody, all you guys are old as me. I think Rod's the oldest guy on the thing. We've been doing everything for so long, right? Remember everybody used to say you're the IT guy, help fix my printer. Now everybody asks me about AI. I don't know.
People are still asking me about printers.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's because we never fixed that printer issue, and I think we're going to do the same thing with AI.
That is acceptable. We may never fix it. Yep. And the thing about why you can't fix it, because we really don't know what's broken. Right?
Well, because what's broken, I'll be honest, will change constantly, continuously.
Quicker and quicker as we go.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if that's broken, though. I think the things that you can't fix is just individual human motivation and decadence and ill manner and the things that have nothing to do with AT. You're talking about country, state power, world power. You're doing all these things, and everybody wants this. Think big brain.
Well, and I think you said it earlier, though. You can't get in front of this. It's always going to be reactory.
And that's going to be the new landscape. What companies are brave enough to say that we were secure, or we would do the best to secure what we do? This is a good time for partners. I'm going to be very partial to Microsoft-centric partners, because Microsoft is in the Microsoft channel. I was a TSP, a BTSP, worked in Microsoft LSCs, LARs, this and that. It's provided me a very good thing. I was a ranger, exchange. I've broken a lot. I've broken more things than most people worked on, right? I think that Microsoft is one of those unique companies that they're in a sweet spot. They don't have the risk of Anthropic, OpenAI, Gemini, these, and we always name these, but we got to realize there's about 12 to 15 really large language things that we know as American, European countries, and we sort of just, other than DeepSeek, we sort of dismiss the other foreign national AI companies. But when
Yeah.
you look at Microsoft and you look at a company that sit where we are, that's a safe spot. Because what does Microsoft have? And I said it on the show that a lot of these companies don't have, and we've had for decades.
YouTube.
You said what?
YouTube.
Google's the only other person that's in the same thing. I'm about to sort of make my unscientific and qualified declaration on. You have a book of business. Who thought that the operating system and email will make you a superpower in the world? Email and the operating system made us superpower in the technology realm. Google is other. I remember I had a chance to work for Google way back young. How many of you guys remember the Google search engine yellow box that you put on premise?
Yep.
I have one. I still got it downstairs. It still fires up. When you cached the internet and brought it down over dial up, it still has modems in the back. And the other one that's sort of like the cousin that nobody thought that would make it and did, it's still like, how are they Meta?
Yeah. Just saw today, read articles that they're getting ready to release really cheap AI to try to beat everybody out.
So when you're these companies that you're able to hedge your bets because you have a book of business. You have a thing that is going to persist regardless of how this thing works. Google is a proverb. Google is a noun, a pronoun, a verb, an adjective, and a conjunction. When you can say Google, people's like, what do you mean? It's all of those things, right? And so they have this thing, everything from search engine to the base model. They control a lot of the K through 12, but the entry level is low. These companies are going to be, in my opinion, going to be the most prepared to be able to do it. Now, these companies that are spending this huge amount of the stuff on it, you're really going to be at the mercy of who's going to buy your capacity now. Who's going to buy it? We're good. I'll say it over here because what I'm saying is not proprietary. Microsoft announced that they have changed away from Anthropic to using some of our own models in some of our products. Did you guys see it in the announcement?
I did see that, yeah.
Like, makes sense. Control the grounding of what you're doing for more accuracy of what you're doing, right? So eventually, you're going to be able to buy these data center stuff on the cheap. This circle of money that's going around, and I saw it. Anthropic didn't go public, and they're not going to go public this year. OpenAI is not going to go public, and any of these so-called, they're not. They failed for two reasons. Not fail. They missed the boat for two reasons, or the train, or the plane, whatever you want to do. Car, Uber, Waymo. You let SpaceX go first, and SpaceX was the litmus test. And immediately they came out and they started issuing bonds to raise more money. Yeah. What did Google do? They issue more bonds. I wasn't in the room, but the reason that OpenAI probably didn't go public, they probably got in front of a banker. The banker went through their books and was like,
yeah.
For those that are not seeing me live, I'm looking like I'm a banker reviewing your financials and your S1. Like, you're joking, right? You're joking. You want to go? Yeah, let's hold off on that. Let's go ahead and do another round of funding. Yeah, let's not.
How are you still in business? That type of
yeah. So that's going on. If you work at Microsoft, you probably want to stay put, man. It's a good thing because you get to be able to do this technology. And the other thing that companies like Microsoft and they were to do that's up under the radar. Google's still doing it on a small scale. Meta's doing it, and a couple of niche companies. And this is going to relate to you, Rod. Don't sleep on quantum computing. Don't sleep on it. Because I'm seeing more and more about quantum.
I told you.
And everybody's fixated on quantum computing, doing impossible calculations and bringing them down from the hundreds of millions of years down into years. And they also look at cryptology, the ability to break current cryptology mechanism. But think about the ability for it to be able to scale in your cyber predictions by predicting. Think Minority Report. I'm going to predict what the next exploit is going to be based on technology things. Got to have quantum. So companies that can spend on quantum who have no expectations that you are going to get return on investment. That's what this country was built on, R&D. What did we go to the moon for? To say we could do it?
No, we were hungry. It's cheap, made out of cheese.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that's what it was, right? I thought the man in the moon needed to ride back home. First, my question was, how does he get there?
How'd you get there in the first place?
Yeah, let's bring him back
I
home.
think it'd be much easier just invent time travel, go to where that attack happened and shut it down, or at least come back and report it. Say, hey, you need to do this. It's like the whole Terminator situation, right?
Man, big shout out to Vasu. She's been on the show. She's a big Star Trek and all this. I love all this science fiction. It's only science fiction to its science fact. And once somebody figures out how to make money off of it, remember, this wristwatch I got on and all this other stuff and what we're doing now was science fiction 100 years ago. This was science fiction. I'm talking to you and us going through the air, right? I have never had a reservation about how artificial intelligence was going to be introduced. It is no more malevolent than a baseball bat. Is a bat good or evil? It's who uses it.
Yeah. Or how it's used.
How used. And then it's talking about what AI is bad, it's going to do this. Nothing is going to take your job. You can give it away, right? Or you can evolve. You have to evolve into the system that it's the system that it is. And people that believe that their particular industries are safe against it, you just don't have a good enough imagination. I was in Texas and I saw a truck. It was the oddest looking truck week before last. And the cab looked different. And the guy said, that's a self-driving semi. What? Oh, yeah. It's a self-driving semi.
Huh, I've not seen those yet.
And I thought that is cool as all get out. The bed looked different. So where the cab would be, where the person would sit, it was like stuff. I couldn't tell if it was a computer. But what they said was the truck would get them with the outskirts. And then the last, if you're an IT or telecom guy, I remember metaphorically, the last mile.
Yeah.
It would come in and drive through the city because they did not trust a semi to drive through populated areas. But on a straight, Texas is a great place to test it. It's just miles of road. Drive straight, drive 55 or 60. Don't change lanes. Pull over to the toll road. I know it was freaking out the people at the way stations. Probably, right? If you had to do it. But think about it, that's going to happen. Atlanta's about to become a self-driving city. There's so many Waymos out here. And then we have self-driving lanes. Not HOV lanes, not Peach Pass lanes. You have to be a self-driving car to use the lanes. That's it.
Can regular Tesla use that? Because technically it can be self-driving.
I don't know. I don't own one. I know a couple of my managers, they're big Tesla fans. I'm not a dis fan of it. I want an electric vehicle, but I want like a Fisker. I want a fast car. My neighbor has a Lucid.
You want a fast car? Well, okay. We're going a little bit off topic, but look at the Rivian R2.
Yes.
130 mile per hour top speed. 0 to 100 in like 4 seconds or something. It was absurd. They just put a video today.
Now, my neighbor has he has a garage full of I'm pointing the wrong way. No, I'm pointing the right way. My neighbor is a Google guy. He has 4 Rivians in his house. And he loves that truck. He's in the R1. The R2 is like getting ready to come out, right? Yeah,
it's out.
And my other neighbor is an AWS. He has a Lucid. Man, we're absolutely off topic. We're ready to end the show, everybody. I stumped the gas on that thing. I was back in the seat. I thought, oh my God, this thing is so fast, right? And the thing that's unnerving, there is no noise. My brain is like, where's the roar of the engine? There's no roar of the engine. There's nothing more than you hit it and your neck goes back and your bladder goes the other way.
Those are supposed to be sort of self-driving by the end of the year.
Yeah. Well, I love this conversation. We stay on topic about just some things and highly opinionated. We didn't talk product. We didn't do this. It was refreshing. We waited to Frank get back. We welcome Gary Bushy. He's one of our permanent hosts.
Thank you.
He'll be on. We're going to have fun. We're going to get back into some more technical things. we haven't had a tech heavy month in a while where all our guests come on. It's all demos. Got to come in, got to show your stuff, right? I learned a couple of things about our own products that I work at. That how do you? I think I'm going to write a paper on this, and maybe we have a show. How to use cost controlling and cost monitoring as a security mechanism for your AI.
Yeah.
I can figure out what you're doing by looking at your spend.
How to set up alerts and everything.
Yeah, we can write that up. Gary, you want to run with that show?
Yeah, that'd be fun.
When you come back from vacation, we'll save it for you, and we all can contribute. How to use cost management and cost prediction as a precursor or a determination in your AI security. I can do it. I can tell you what is happening in your environment by looking at your spend. I know what's going on. I can tell you if you have security.
I would have with that is how quickly is your spend updated?
Well, that's the thing. Let's get into the nuances because you, and Rob been doing Sentinel since the early days. I can look at certain things in Sentinel and make a determination that you changed this and this happened. Your data source went offline or whatever. If all of a sudden your Palo ingestion to your connector went up, is there a bunch of deny, accepts, whatever someone changed? And so that's a good topic. Using cost management as a security mechanism in the world of AI. You can do it. And look at
it. Got me thinking.
Uh-oh.
You could build, you could build a mechanism that counts tokens as they're being used on the client side, and it keeps a nice little tally, almost like a speedometer.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that'd be kind of cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'm gonna build that.
I'm gonna build that too. Let's see who builds it first. I got an idea though. If I already said it, that mean I already started working on it because I was scratching my head. And I'm like, because every time I say something, Rod beats me to it. And like,
yeah.
But I got an idea about this because I started going through, and you know what, Rod? I'm not going to give you access to my lab because if you get access to my lab, you'll see it, and then you'll go, "Oh, I see what he's doing. I see exactly what he's doing right now." I'm going to cut this off. Everyone, thanks so much for attending the Security Insights podcast. Frank is on vacation, well deserved. Thank him for popping in. Thank you, Gary, for coming on. You've been a friend of the show, man, while you were at Microsoft. Definitely while you were at Cyclotron, one of the top security practitioners in Microsoft technology in the U.S., probably the world. Thanks for that support you coming on. Rod, as always, man, you're the businessman I don't know.
Well, to be honest, with all the layoffs this week, I'm probably the least busy that I've been. But now it starts to get serious again. So
yeah, we're gonna get serious. Take some time off, recharge, man. We got a huge opportunity out here, man, to do some really good things, to impart information. If anybody's listening to the show and you have an idea that you want to bring on, like I said, this is a show of highly opinionated facts. There is no wrong answers here. Tech Heavy will be coming up here later on in the year. We're probably going to increase our shows back, not to 4 times a month like we used to be, but maybe 3. The people have spoken. They're getting tired of us only doing 2 shows a month, so we probably got to go back. Shout out to Gary Wilson, one of my coworkers over at Microsoft, and to Daniel Daada. They're probably 2 of the sharpest individuals we brought onto the team. They know their ish, and they've come on. They flatten that learning curve out. Shout out to my manager. I won't mention his name over at Microsoft. You talking about one of the fairest guys out there. He's good. Yes, the same as Plug and his brown nose, and it's easy because I'm brown. Shout out to everybody else out here that's doing the good work, man. It ain't easy, and if it was easy, would you appreciate it? With that being said, y'all have a good night. I'm going to go cook some chicken wings and watch me some anime.
Peace. It's Thursday. Chicken wings on Thursday?
Yeah, chicken wings on Thursday. I ate sushi on Wednesday. Remember?
When's tacos? It's not on Tuesday. That's just Tuesday. That's too easy. All right.
Yeah, how long have you known me, Rod? You know, it's always on Tuesday. I cook shrimp tacos on Tuesday with turkey. You know, my wife doesn't eat.
Well, and I know why you cook so often now, because the wife gives you all the ideas, and you have to pay her back. So
you always got something to say. Oh, yeah. I remember I'm gonna call your wife. Me and Meg are good friends. She told me, "Bro, I give you any trouble." I would definitely give Megan calls. Let me tell you what your husband.
She'll be at Black Hat with me, by the way. If that sweetens the deal, you got to come out to Vegas. Your manager's on here right now. Let's see.
He's like, "Let me come to Black Hat, man." He's a penny pincher.
Well,
he's like, "Well,
it's all the tokens. He's a token pincher."
Yeah, he's a token pincher, right? He's like, "Well, you can go to Black Hat if you walk, you sleep outside. You know, you have to eat dead pigeons that you cook with an iron. He'll let me go then, but other than that,
But you got to bring your own iron.
you gotta bring your own iron. I got
And your own pigeon. Yeah.
So we go. You guys have a good one, man. We'll get on. Hey, matter of fact, I'm going to get my manager on the call if he's allowed to come on. But if I get him on, I got to get his peers on because we don't share favorites. And then Gary, we've had your boss on 3 times.
Well, you haven't had my main boss. You've had my director on.
You had your director on. Hey, Psychotron's friend. They can come on anytime. And Rod, we've had your boss on twice. Yes.
Which, I've only
Christina.
had really
Christina.
one boss. Yeah.
Yeah. So I got to get mine on. It's only fair, man. It's only fair. Everybody have a good night. Thank you so much for indulging us old men out here, but we got that old man knowledge and old man strength. I once troubleshoot an entire data center region being down. It was just a network cable. Plug it in. Path, power, and ping, people. Path, power, and ping. Start with that. Listen to it. My wife will always ask, is it plugged in? Is it turned on? And then what is it connected to? She's been around me so much. She's like, path, power, and ping. I'm like, yeah, I got it. And then Franklin, you get access to my AI supercomputer that's over there now. It's on that separate network over there. So, and Gary, if you want to get access to it when you come out, you can do it. 4 GPUs, baby, 24 gig each.
Wow.
Yes, I got 108 gigabytes of actual GPU memory, and I don't even talk about how fast my drives are in it. Yeah, I'm bragging. Let me pop my shirt real quick. Hey, y'all have a good one.